So, this is your host, Steve, from the back, coming at you again, raw and unscripted. Hopefully, you can pick up my audio, or hopefully, the computer will pick up my audio. So, what I wanted to talk about today is this story about and maybe briefly, this Dogman siege. I believe it's Siege of Locket Ranch story. And the reason why I'm laughing, the reason why I'm clearly, starting to laugh a little is because, when you talk about this story, there's a couple of things that are kind of funny about it. Is one, that I believe in this story that these were clearly dogmen, not Bigfoot. But I guess some people, I guess what I'm trying to say is some people don't make the distinguishing, they don't distinguish whether something is a dogman or it's a Bigfoot in a story. And in my opinion, that doesn't make any sense in my opinion. I feel like in the world of cryptozoology, one of the biggest things is you always have to try to differentiate something, simply because it's all too confusing anyway, but you're just making it more confusing if you don't. So I just thought that was hilarious when someone had noted that a certain group of people may have not differentiated that fact, because that seems to me like such a key factor. But also, one thing that stood out to me is interesting about this story was the fact that this story may have been changed from its original source simply by hearsay, which made certain details of the story, like big details too, not just details that are what do you call it? Not just details that are small, but like large details that have like big implications to them. And I'm sorry if it's hard for me to speak, but sometimes it's really hard for me to my brain fires off so much quicker sometimes than I can actually talk. So that's what the problem always is. But what I'm trying, or it could be that, I guess, yeah, I can think it, but to say it is going to be coming out much slower. So bear with me. Now, the thing about the metal roofing that this guy had installed on his roof, that I believe it was the guy by the name of Tex in this rant. It was a rant between two people, between a lady named Jessica and a man named Tex, or maybe that's just what he goes by. I really don't know. But these people have a good channel. They have a nice channels, and they were just doing like a sort of collaboration. And what this guy Tex was saying made a lot of sense to me. It made a whole lot of sense. And I have to laugh. I'm chuckling because the way he said it made you just laugh at something, because like maybe someone probably made an error or a typo, or something was like, no, that probably couldn't be true, but it's because it was passed down. So when he commented on that, which I'd never heard someone comment on, it never crossed my mind, I thought it was hilarious when he said that like the metal roofing probably was not that thick because he didn't think that the building would be able to withstand that much weight on it, and that makes perfect sense. Like, that sounds logical to me, you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. And then I also got an image of my mind of dogmen, because I have a very visual type of imagination, and things to me always make me laugh because I think of like the funniest like things happening. So I get this image of a dog man trying to get on the roof and climb, and he's just he's just slipping and sliding, and he's like frantically trying to regain his balance, and I would imagine he'd probably just slide off. I mean, that's unless this thing could actually claw metal, like, and I don't think that they're like, I'm not saying that they're not strong enough to push in metal, because I think to some degree they are that strong. I think to be able to dent by pushing, like kind of like a gorilla can do that. You've heard of chimps ripping car doors off. Like, there was an instance where a chimp literally, the door was locked, but the chimp literally, 200-pound chimp, literally ripped the door off because he just could pull that hard. So, I don't know, but my point is that I don't think that, a finger, a bone, or a claw to a degree has give, and the thing is, it's not so much that you're able to push, it's that the point of the attachment of this tool that you're trying to push with now is going to lead to you actually breaking it off, and which is going to hurt, which is going to, who knows if it can grow back, I don't know, That's what I'm saying. Like, so I imagine this dog man in seconds, and we all know stuff like this happens in seconds. Like, you're trying to climb something or do something, and instantly, oh crap, this isn't going to work. I just imagine dog man probably literally trying to climb, if this is true that they put this metal on, and probably was not able to get on the roof like normally he could, like, which is the whole reason why this was done. And the oil, someone said something about pouring, which I thought was really hilarious, but probably has truth to it, trying to pour oil on surfaces of the roof plus the metal, to where that dog man, I think, is not getting on anything at that point. He's not. He has no stable foothold to. There's nothing for him to really get on there anymore. To get up on there like that. I thought that was hilarious when I heard that. You guys, I started laughing like hard when I heard that. And it made a lot of sense. But that's not just it. It's a lot of things. The fact that this area was said to be on an Indian burial ground of some sorts, which seems to be a common running theme. I just think it's interesting that, like, the spiritual aspect of things that could be going on may have connection to the physical things that happen to go on. Now, I don't know. You guys. I had a very vivid imagination as a kid, and we were raised Christian, and my mom was very Christian, and we were always taught that things that we didn't know about were demonic. I was always taught that, like, things that she had either seen, witnessed, or things that were not able to be seen, but physically were able to move things in the house that she grew up in as a child, were noted to be demonic. That was the understanding in my family. That was what was passed down to me, told, you know what I mean? Like, that type of thing. Now, I don't know to say if I know that's true or believe that's true, because when we talk about demonic, I mean, now, if you want to say demonic, it very well could be true, though. I can't really say confirm or deny, or I can't really confirm that. I don't have the real qualifications in any knowledge I know to qualify anything like that. All I can say is I know that there's a very real existence of that type of phenomena, that type of activity. I know that it's a really real thing. But I also say, like, I can't even say there's a connection between, like, what the burial ground was or whatever. It's all really speculation. Now, one thing that I do believe is, I do believe there had to do a lot with this type of violent activity. This was violent. This was like an attack. This was something that happened because these dogmen decided, for whatever reason, that they were going to really try to harm these people. I think, or really just try to run them out. You know what I mean? if that's really what really happened, you know, because there's a lot of like, you know, because who knows what was really going on. There's a lot in this that I think is interesting, but you know, I think that it has to do a lot with like people's intentions, people's emotions, and I believe that, you know, when these very warlike um, entities or beings or whatever, the way they are, I just don't think that there's. And I'm going to explain this. I think that one of the biggest problems is there's no law. Like there is, I think there is a law. Like I think there are people who actually do hunt these things and kill them inevitably. I think they have like these type of professionals that I think do that. That's just my theory, is what I think. I've heard other people say similar, but I really think they do. And I think that they don't have to answer to the same type of authority that we have. Like, for instance, if you have a dispute with someone, you can't just go out with your family and just do something to that person, or that's like, I'm, I'm not advising that type of behavior, but I'm just saying realistically, that's not something that just happens like in our modern society. And just no, that may happen in like isolated villages and like what do they call it, like countries that are like developing and stuff, and like maybe certain territories that are very very overrun with a lot of like illegal activity and a lot of things like that, to the degree where like maybe it's very much easier to get away with that type of behavior. But think of these cryptids. This is just my thing, and I don't like to talk about this because I don't like to try to like make a atmosphere of like fear, and you know, this whole getup is just a personality trait. This is just a gimmick, you know what I mean? Like anything else is a gimmick, you know. So don't get it twisted, you guys. Not one of those people that's into all that. I'm not thinking like that. I don't like to, but they do kill people. Let's just be real. They kill people. Like, as far as I'm concerned, they do. For bad or good reason, I can't really say. I don't think they actually really kill people a lot for like. I mean, how I'm trying to say this is, I don't think they do these things for really, really bad reasons necessarily. I feel like sometimes it's self-defense. I feel like sometimes it is um, a very vicious territorial type of instinct, and you know, whatever dogma, whatever you want to call it. I think that's what's going on here. Um, and I think they keyed on to, I've said this before, just not really trying to defend them, but to some degree, I'm trying to defend their actions. I think it's the key that they feel like, well, people view us as intimidating, big, scary things, and a person will probably shoot me before I could, like, they know that there's no argument. There's no, like, they can't try to say anything, do anything. It's more or less like a person is going to get intimidated, and the first instinct is a person is going to say like, oh my god, what is that? And then they're just going to shoot. You know what I mean? I think that's what's really going on for the most part. Is they've seen over time and time and time that like people generally will shoot at them because of the intimidation factor. And many times I feel like this dog man, or in essence it could be another cryptid, their hostile first instinct, their behavior already set a person off. So now this person is already agitated, fearing for their life already. And like most normal people, I'll admit that, like most people who don't have more of an open mind are going to shoot at this thing. They're going to shoot. It's kind of like not rocket science by any means. Just like when bears charge people and stuff, a person's going to shoot. Makes perfect sense. But with all that being said, I still think like it doesn't necessarily make it right, supposedly, that you shoot all the time. I think like sometimes I think it's very wrong. But with that being said, what I'm saying is I think these things are very warlike in general anyway. I feel like they're very combative, they're very inherently warlike, but it just makes it that more to them, I feel, more agitating when a person comes in and knowing the threats that a person may pose, or knowing the threats that people may pose, encroaching upon what was those dogmen's territory. Like obviously they're going to react violently and craze in a crazed manner. Like obviously it makes no one is gonna, honestly, no one no one is gonna, what I'm really trying to say is this. I'm really trying to make the point that like even us as people would do some very underhanded things if we didn't have to answer to a justice system, or you know, there are some people out there right now that are sitting with, they got their shotguns ready, they got their things, on lock, and they're not necessarily, they're not, the honest truth, like they're not maybe going to do things they would first instinct, impulse, because of the justice system. Like you come on their property, when they first have their eyes on you, I mean, because they might probably see you before you saw them, they're probably thinking like, what the, excuse my French, but what, like, who the, is this on my property? All, they're thinking like, don't you dare go any further. It's like, I mean, come on, you guys, really, just think of it realistically. Let me ask you this: if you were in your most calmest state and you're in your most private or vulnerable area, like whether it's your home, whatever, and a stranger just appears, what's your first instinct? What's your reaction? See what I mean? Like that is that same thing. Like I look at it like that. Like, you're never gonna put yourself in arm's length of just a strange individuals just like, just no, like who does that? Like why do our houses have locks? Why do our houses have windows? Why do our houses have doors? And why do some houses we even live in have gates on them? Like literally have metal bars on the windows. It's not rocket science. So, and I'm not going to necessarily, this is not all that the rant is about, but I have to talk about this because it's a weird thing. Now, I've always had this aversion. Like, don't get me wrong, I like my luxury. I like to sleep in a warm bed when it's cold. I like certain luxuries. But I've always had a love for the outdoors. And I wouldn't say a disdain for modern or conventional living, like, situations. But I, to a degree, always, and I think this is just my personal thing. Now, I'll just really admit to this. I think what it really stems from is simple, just like childhood trauma, and not like serious trauma, like trauma of that, like you were abused by someone or something or something. No, I think what it is like, if you really think of it as a person, to most people, most of your negative memories happen inside somewhere. Maybe. Maybe I shouldn't say it like that, but I think that's usually the case. Whether that was like at a job, whether you were in school, whether you were rejected by a girl, whether you were bullied in school, whether, whatever it was, whatever type of thing, or even if it was something much, much darker and worse and more sinister. Most of these things you got to think happen a lot of times just in the enclosure of, like, right now, indoors, under artificial lighting, windows, there's a door, there's something. And look at it like this, right? Now this is really weird, but I always thought of this concept. Now really just follow me. Now, when you look at a house from outside, it generally is a dark canvas in a dark figure, because the house is a figure in itself, the house is a shape. And then what you see is, and if I don't have my glasses on, for me, it's a blur anyway. It's all blurry. You see this blob, and then you see these lights on it, right? And then you just see these, like, orange or whatever, artificially. You see these lights coming out of it. Kind of similar to, like, what you see with the Dogman sometimes. You see a figure, and then you see these lights. You know what I mean? Sometimes they look self-illuminating. These big lights inside of this dark mass, you know, which everything looks like that, like a car. Everything kind of has that look. You know what I mean? And you think when you're outside of this house, now, like I said, with me, with the trauma aspect, you know, it's more comforting sometimes to be looking at from the outside, looking in. Like you're looking outside, looking at what you know to be as a house. You know what I mean? And you know, that's a thing, right? What I'm trying to say basically is like when you're inside of a house, right? When you're inside of somewhere that's an enclosure, regardless of what that comfort is, like that's outside, that's inside, whatever, you know, you just know, you know, there's things called burglary or trespassing, you know, for reasons, you guys. Like, no one is just about to just walk up in there. You know what I mean? No one is about to just walk up in there. You know what I mean? They're not just about to just walk up in there. You know, I say have to emphasize just because like just, you know, no one is just strolling on in there. You know what I mean? Like, um, I feel like unless you know, the obviously like if it's a friend or something or whatever or family, spouse, whatever, it's, you know, pet, whatever, it's like duh, you're familiar enough to like not be alarmed. But when it's like I said, unwanted attention of strangers, possible threats. I'm just laying it out like this just to try, kind of make a basis to get a very simple point across, but to get it across in a way that's like emphasizing more of like what's really going on. So I'm just saying that I feel like in these type of stories, um, I mean, who's to say that the dog man has more right to be there than the person? I don't really think that's a good argument. Like to say the person has less reason to be there than the dog man. You know, I don't know to really say that. I can't. That's way too much for me to. Like, how would I know? You know what I mean? Um, so I can't say that they don't deserve it more than us, and I can't say we don't deserve the territory. I can't really say that. You know, but one thing I do know is I do know that like there's no way that something like that you just can just stroll up. Nah, you know what I mean? And especially I'm trying to think of the mentality or the ego even of some of these things. Like, you mean to tell me that that thing you're gonna us our little selves? You think we're gonna stroll up there and just like, you know what I mean? Ah, it's just not happening. Um, and I think the whole thing is I don't think sometimes they really. Now I think sometimes these things can be compassionate. Can be like compassionate and understanding and stuff, but like generally I don't think they're going to be that nice about it. Like they're not, they have no real reason to. I think most of the time that's what I'm really trying to say. Like I think they don't have much of a reason to, and you have to think that's how everything works in this world. Um that like logic and reason, you know, like I said, we have to answer to things whether you're really, I'm not going to say good, you know, good bad person, depending on what you choose to do is up to you. But what I'm saying is generally that's not the problem with people. Usually people don't do things because of the consequences. You know, they feel like, well, if I just do this, then I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? I'm in big trouble. So, you know, people, which is a good thing to a degree, a level of control, because lawlessness and complete chaos never can work. And it shouldn't. Um, but really take this into consideration. I'm only making this rant because I'm making it for people who maybe have not truly considered like the reasoning possibly behind these things. And I don't want to go on too long, but another thing I'll have to say is like the intelligence factor. We don't really know how intelligent Dog Man is. We don't know. Like some people may have theories that maybe they were dumbed down. They used to be more intelligent. but they interbred with canines and stuff, and like that could be true. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know, you know. But let's just say like they're intelligent enough to have that basic reasoning of like nobody's gonna touch me. They're like, I only answer to maybe alpha. I only answer to maybe like elders. I only answer to like, maybe some weird people that come in and try to like take one of us out or do these things because, it's something that happens when we do something or, this has happened before. Who knows how long they can live too? I don't know. Maybe they can live like 200 years. Maybe they can live longer than that. Who really knows? Maybe they have short lifespans. But my point is, I feel like an intelligent thing that is like seen and lived and has grown and like, and there's also the argument about the interdimensional thing, like maybe they're just materializing, or maybe like, I know this is out there, but I'm really just going to say this because I believe this. I believe us to a degree are capable of some of this stuff too. Like, you know, vibrating at such a frequency to where now you have projected or to a different dimension or something, or you have solidified yourself to a degree to now you are in this dimension, to now where you can eat, sleep, be harmed, so on and so forth, because those are the laws of this like density. Regardless of any way you slice this, I still think that like they have a base reasoning to, and I honestly think, in my opinion, I think they're intelligent as we are, or if not more. That's what I really believe, But that's just my opinion. But what I think is, I think they reason the same way a person reasons. Like, if I'm not answering for my actions, well, then this is just a straight up landslide victory. If that, this is where we're just going to take these people out and get them out of here. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't supposed to be here anyway. I'm going to go back home to what I was doing. I'm going back home to my family. I'm getting this person out of here, and that's the end of that. You know what I mean? There's no trials. There's no communal argument. There's no. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? Like we see in the animal kingdom all the time. Like, animals decide this is a problem. I'm getting rid of it, and now this one's dead. That one's dead. Next thing you know. And it's this bloody horror story. I think that's what's actually going on. I think that was the case with that Lockett Ranch thing. I could be wrong. This is all speculation, you guys. You know, this is just how I look at these things. And from my perspective, analyzing these things, I feel like from a realistic, logical, practical type of way, this just all this does is just allow me to gather information. And by gathering this type of information, or coming to a conclusion, or theory, or coming to my own conclusions with this, what it does for me personally, I don't know what anything does for you, I hope it helped you in some type of way. What it does for me is it helps me to understand things in life. It helps me to, just for training purposes only, you guys, just for training. This is not gonna harm anyone. I mean, I'd wear eye protection, but yeah. What it does is, as a whole, it gives me a better appreciation for pretty much everything. That's what it does. It makes me think like, well, there's a lot that we don't understand, but what it does for me is it also, I don't have that same type of fear I used to have growing up as a kid, like to where, something seems so scary to me that it's just like overwhelming to the point of where I don't think that like I think life is a horror movie, you know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking like, oh, well, if I was to encounter something, it's just so vicious and so this and that I'm just gonna never, I'm gonna walk away, or not walk away, but I'm not gonna walk away, not going to walk away from this encounter, and I'm gonna be a missing person. Nah, the way I look at it now is I look at it like there could be a chance that I may walk past something like this some point in my life, and it may not even pay me any mind, honestly. It may not even alert to me that it's there. You know what I mean? It may just not even, it may just sit there, you know what I mean? And I just never knew it was there. Like, think about that. You know what I mean? Really, really think about that. Think about how many times that's probably happened, to where you probably walked through an area and maybe something was there, but it just had no reason to pay you mind. Because also, what I'm saying is the whole viciously territorial thing, obviously, they're on the flip side. There's always the flip side of where, like, there's no like, you're not causing a threat or anything, or you're not, or your intent in your behavior is so much that you were just trying to literally walk through an area. Like, you're not trying to go further in. Maybe you're walking out of an area, you know what I mean, or something like that. Like, you know, and your demeanor, maybe it's just so nonchalant into them, they're just like, like, they just look over it. Like, it's like, there's no point to even, like, address that. You know what I mean? I often get the image of, like, especially, you gotta think, like, a being that has, like, who knows, maybe stuff to, when you've eaten so much that you're like, you can always joke and say you can feel the food in your heart. You know what I mean? The food is so, you're so full that the food is up high, sitting high on you, and you're just like, you know what I mean? Who knows? You know what I mean? Like just like that. He's just sitting there trying to digest that meal for who knows, and there's no point in even alerting that its presence is there. I would think it's just gonna just look at you with its eyes, and that's it. And probably not even budge. Many animals do that, honestly. They don't budge. They stay still and just watch. You can't hear their eyes moving, obviously, right? So you're not gonna, they're just there, and you would never know they're there. So what I'm saying is, I look at this whole thing like, yes, I think there is a very sinister aspect to it often, like, very sinister, but I could be wrong. But I'm only saying that because I know individuals can be pretty evil people. Like, that's all, everywhere. You're always going to get someone or something that is evil for whatever reason. So that's always a thing, and I look at them the same way. But also, I think what I want to take away from this whole thing in the culture of this channel, the culture, there has to be culture. The culture, in my opinion, that I try to, that I try to spread on this type of channel, is that the culture should be that you take away a lot of the fear mongering and you start looking at things from more of a analytical way. So you're not just jumping to some fear mongering type of conclusions. That's really what I'm trying to say, guys. That's really what I'm trying to hit home with these type of rants, which I have many of them. So you get what I'm saying, right? The culture has to be that you're analyzing, not just jumping to these conclusions all of a sudden, like most people do. Most people have this, like, Hollywoodized notions of this type of thing. So that's why they just jump to that conclusion, like, oh, this is a horror movie, the dogman, like, nah, not on this channel. So this, I think it's called The Seas of Locket Ranch. I don't want to butcher the name, but I think that's what's called. So that's just my opinion on that story. I did a video on what I thought about the Land Between Lakes story. this is my opinion on this Locket Ranch story, you guys. I say this is Steve's Art and Fun. I'm your host, Steve from the back. Like, comment, sub, hit the bell, leave a good comment if you're going to leave a comment, please. If you're going to share this video by any means, share this video, and I always have to say this, I don't feel like people stress this stuff enough. Share it on the platforms that are appropriate, on the platforms to where you'd feel people would have similar opinions, you know, because that would only make sense. Like I always say on this channel, there will come a time where this channel is more of, I believe, more of, you know, just fun and laughs, you know what I mean? Adventures and journeys and things like that, and laughs and stuff, and fun and shenanigans. So, because that stuff is not able to happen at this moment, sadly, sorry you guys, it's not, you know, I'm forced to make the type of content I'm making. What I have to do now, because I feel like it's the wisest way to spend my time to do with this channel, is I have to set basically a standard. I have to explain the culture of this channel, because I feel like often people or individuals, like we're all individuals, but on their channel, I don't think sometimes they go in depth enough, for probably good reason. But me, I always have a habit of putting myself out there for whatever reason. I feel like it's important for me to explain to people the actual culture of this channel, my actual culture, the actual personality of myself, and the actual reasoning that goes on. You know, the actual reasoning behind this type of approach to this type of subject and stuff. You know, the approach to be analytical about it. The approach to not just disregard the possibility that there could be a spiritual aspect to this. All of that, you know, and the openness that, let's just be honest, some people would say, oh, well, that's evil, so you can't really, like, why would you don't try to align yourself with that because it's evil. But me, maybe it's bad, but this guy here has a thing for power and has a thing for actual ability. Like, I'm just that type of person that, like, if I see something works and something has, like, abilities to it, it interests me. So if there's a dark aspect to this that I feel like a person or people's could possibly gain knowledge from that translates into power directly, why not? You know what I mean? That's my mentality. Is like, obviously I'm going to look right on it. You know, my eyes are going to dart right in that direction. You know, because that's the way I am. You know, so that's why I am the way I am. That's why the culture is the way it is on this channel. That's why the imagery is the way it is. That's why the theme has always been the way it has always been. Okay, so with all that being said, until next time, you know, you guys have a good one. And I also have to say, if there's some type of cryptid or something or in that nature that you want to know my opinions on it, and who knows, you may even present something to me that I have like no clue of, that I never heard of before, which would kind of have me to go research it. That's fine. Just leave it in the comments, you know. So until next time, have a good one, you guys.